Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we getting on? In today's video, we have a little bit more Fallout 76 news. Looking forward to a new patch next week, which will be reasonably small, but should be interesting and most welcome. And the return of the Mole Miner Treasure Hunters and the Hunt for the Treasure Hunter event, which is due next weekend as well, new and improved. So, let's jump in and take a look, shall we? Okay then, so new inside the vault post. Nice little shot of the lighthouse, very, very cool. So, inside the vault, new update and treasure hunter event incoming. So a couple of cool things here and a bit of a refresh on some stuff we've talked about a little bit before. So, in this week's article, you'll find new details about our next update for Fallout 76. We're also sharing improvements we've made for the Hunt for the Treasure Hunter event ahead of its return next Thursday. You can also find and catch some highlights from Camp Shelter's playtesting in the public test server. So, a couple of cool things to take a look at. So, first things first, this new update. Not going to be a massive one, this one, just relatively small, laying a bit of groundwork, fixing a few bugs, which is fine. We've got a big content beat coming up towards the end of the year, which is way too close for comfort, although 2020 being what it is, maybe not such a bad thing. So, not surprised this is a little smaller, but yeah, cool. Laying the groundwork for the really cool stuff coming in the next couple of months. So, next Tuesday, October the 13th, we're planning to release a new update that will address a number of bugs, including several community-reported issues, bring new festive items to the Atomic Shop. Interesting. In fact, we've seen a little bit on that front already on social media and in a few other places, so there's some very interesting stuff lined up for the coming weeks in terms of Atomic Shop items. I know a lot of people have mixed feelings on that, but there's some stuff that will put a smile on your face in there, I think, irrespective of whether or not you're going to go for it. So that's quite cool. And we're going to lay some behind-the-scenes groundwork for our Steel Dawn update, which is currently slated for later this year. So it's currently lined up for December, I think, from what they said a couple of weeks ago. Hopefully all's on track with that. So next week's patch will be smaller than some of our previous releases in 2020. If that means a smaller download size, I don't think we'll have a lot of complaints about that. However, we still have our heads down, working full steam ahead on new story quests, features like camp shelters, adjustments for hunger and thirst mechanics, looking forward to that looks very cool, and a variety of other improvements that are coming with the Steel Dawn update. So they haven't shared a great deal here, but the thirst mechanic, hunger and thirst mechanics rather, changes that are coming later in the year will probably be again with the big stuff sort of towards the end of the year, likely the December patch. But the general gist of that is going to be that where hunger and thirst at the moment work that they're reductive, so if you don't eat and drink, you lose action points, or lose your maximum action points. They're going to kind of flip that on its head, at least that's the current plan as far as we're aware, and then go in the other direction. So instead of losing action points when you don't eat, you gain extra buffs when you do, is the general idea. It makes it a little less onerous, you have to worry about it a little less, because after all, with the occasional exception early on, it's not really that big a deal managing hunger and thirst. Once you sort of get into your stride of it, it's just kind of a thing. So rather than have it being a little underwhelming and just a minor annoyance, they're going to make it something that actually gives you a benefit instead. So that's pretty cool. Looking forward to that change. Again, looking forward to seeing how it actually comes out. So, we can't wait to get Steel Dawn into your hands, and we'll have more information to share on new content as we get closer to that update. Not surprisingly, things are still subject to change with it being currently unreleased. In the meantime, those of you who own Fallout 76 on PC through BethesdaNet can join us in playtesting Shelters right now on the public test server and share your feedback in the PTS forum. We'll see you on Tuesday for our next update, so that's the patch. So yeah, Shelters on there at the moment. They have said a few times that subsequent updates will be coming to the PTS, sort of the Steel Dawn quest lines, things like that, for those who want to jump in there and test them. Still leaning toward the not for now. Don't really want to ruin it for myself. Want to share my first experience with it with you guys and basically see it in its completed form, hopefully. So that should be cool. So, Treasure Hunters return to Appalachia. Very cool. So this event, the first time round, had potential, but didn't really live up to it. It basically had issues with repeated loot and limited area and less than ideal drops, but changes via the PTS over the course of the summer and the introduction of One Wasteland improve a huge amount of this, so it's actually looking like it'll be getting much closer at the very least to living up to its potential. So, treasure hunter mole miners have made themselves scarce since they first appeared in the ash heap earlier this year. However, we've detected recent increases in mole miner activity, and we currently believe the treasure hunters will soon breach the surface once again and begin scouring the land for riches, this time throughout the entire wasteland. So right, Hunt for the Treasure Hunter is returning next Thursday, October 15th. Very cool. We've made a number of improvements based on feedback the community has shared with us last time, and we're excited to see what you think. Also, improvements based on what was tested on the test server, which actually seemed to be working quite well when I stumbled across it on there, so promising, definitely promising. Treasure Hunter Mole Miners will now spawn in all regions of Appalachia, not just the Ash Heap, so that's a massive improvement, and their levels adjust dynamically up to 50. As a result, they will drop legendary loot that better matches your character's level. So, I realise a lot of people way over level 50, but obviously the maximum gear level is 50, so not much point in pushing it any higher than that, because you won't really benefit from it, you'll just have to shoot them more to take them down. So, they're basically legendary enemies. They look like this chap you can see here with a massive backpack, and they kind of jingle and make noise, so you can hear them when you're nearby. So chase them down, take down the legendary, and hopefully get more level-appropriate loot based on it, which is cool. It was one of the big complaints back in the last run-through of it, back at the front half of the year, was that because it was Ash Heap-centric, it was limited to sort of, I think the highest you could get was about level 30 or so, because of the level lock of the region at the time. Obviously, with One Wasteland and other changes they've made, that's no longer a problem, so you can now get basically whatever loot is appropriate for your level. And you can also get it anywhere on the map as well, which is really, really cool. So you should always be encountering appropriate level of enemies and appropriate level of drops, more to the point. So speaking of loot, we've separated the Treasure Hunter event rewards into their own reward pool and added a number of new items that you can't get anywhere else. So that was the other big complaint about this, was that the focused rewards for the event were basically the same ones from the Holiday Scorched event over the Christmas period, which were kind of underwhelming in themselves in the first place. There were a couple of new things in there, but they were kind of hard to get because the drop rates were too low, and a lot of the stuff was just duplicates. The stuffed animals was the big one. But they've separated this out, so we should be getting more unique stuff and a more focused set of drops, which is very cool. And as we're about to see, they should be getting easier to claim as well, which is very, very cool as well. So additionally, Treasure Hunter Mole Miners have an increased chance to drop ornate Mole Miner pails. Players also have higher chances to get event-exclusive rewards from lower quality pails. So these pails are basically mini toolboxes that you get when you loot the deceased Treasure Hunter Mole Miner, and they're now going to drop higher ranking ones more often, which is great, and the lower ranking ones will have better drop chances for decent rewards. So all in all, much better chance of getting the cool stuff out of the event, which is very, very welcome, especially based on the complaints the last time round. So Bethesda clearly listening here, this is good, this is what we want to hear. And finally, we spoke with vendors to negotiate significantly lower cap prices on components for player-crafted Mole Miner pails. So if you don't want to hunt down the miners, you can always buy the necessary ingredients and literally craft the pails yourself and get the rewards that way. And last time around, that was a significantly high cost. This time around, they've brought that cost down, which is cool. Hopefully not too far, because, you know, there comes a point where you bring it down too far, people won't bother hunting for the Mole Miners, so they're not really engaging with the event, which kind of takes some of the point of it away. Not all of it, but, you know, half the fun is hunting down their targets, so hopefully it's still going to be the right balance, so it encourages you to go out and find them, but maybe people will be doing a bit of both, so that should be very cool. Either way, a lot of feedback taken on board there, and the changes that were specifically asked for have been made here, which is really, really cool. Really good to see that. So we're still unaware what schemes the Treasure Hunter Mole Miners are cooking up for all of the loot they're collecting, but we'd rather not find out. We hope you join us in reclaiming these riches for yourself and your fellow dwellers. Here are the start and end times for the event. So that is next Thursday, October the 15th at 12 PM Eastern Time for the start, running through till 12 PM Eastern Time on the Monday, which is October the 19th. For those in the UK, that is 5 PM. So, very, very cool. Next weekend, something fun to get stuck into. It'll be a bit of a quiet weekend, this one, because I've had a few events the last few weekends, so that's cool. So, last but not least, build with us in the PTS. We've already touched on this a few times. I'm going to be jumping back into the PTS ahead of this weekend. Hopefully getting a new build in one of the different rooms, probably the lobby this time around, done on the PTS. Again, still going to have limited resources, but we'll see what we can pull out of the bag. Hopefully that'll be a bit of fun. We did the Vault Utility Room last time, which was cool. It's the smallest of the spaces. It's the one that we get for free, so I wanted to start there, but very, very cool. Looking forward to doing a bit more building in those. So, late last week, we kicked off our latest round of PTS playtesting with the upcoming Camp Shelters feature. Frankly, we've been blown away by the community's participation so far. Awesome, that's a good sign. We are actively reading through all the feedback, discussions, and bug reports, and we really appreciate everything you've been sharing with us on the PTS forum. While we remain focused on shelters on the PTS right now, we do plan to bring further improvements and Steel Dawn content to the PTS in the coming weeks. As mentioned above, if you're interested in Shelters playtesting and you own a PC copy via BethesdaNet, we hope you'll join us in the PTS and build something fantastic. As I say, that's the plan for the weekend. So yeah, they're looking pretty cool, the camp shelters. They've got their shortcomings that I've discussed in a couple of previous videos, but once they sort of free up the stuff that's currently locked away on the PTS and hopefully iron out a few of the issues that people have raised, there's some significant ones, but hopefully they'll be reasonably fixable, so hopefully that'll be cool down the line. And once we get a few different styles of shelters rather than just vaults, the potential should open up a bit. So, as I've said several times before, cautiously optimistic, looking forward to seeing what there is lined up in the future with this feature. As we mentioned last week, there is a new PTS pennant reward up for grabs that you can unlock for your camp in the live game by taking part in Shelters playtesting. Get your pennant by building in shelters on at least 3 different days and by using 75% or more of a shelter's build budget before the PTS concludes, which will likely be December, so plenty of time yet. We'll add the pennant to your account shortly after we release the Seal Dawn update. In addition to feedback, PTS players have been posting plenty of screenshots of their awesome shelter creations. We've collected a handful of submissions to share with you here. If you'd like to check out some of the other imaginative builds players came up with last weekend, be sure to visit our Camp Shelter screenshots thread and follow on Twitter. So, a couple of photos down here worth having a quick look at because there's some cool stuff. People going a little crazy with this, which is good to see. Not really my style, but very cool. Yeah, definitely some interesting creations here. So let's have a scroll. Come from the forums. So I did want to mention, by the way, if you want to catch this blog report and find the various threads that are linked in it, then I will link it down in the description as well for you if you want to catch up with that. So, yeah, interesting look on the Vault Atrium here. High score game type vibe. I suppose the idea is that the overseer's window there is like the screen. That's quite cool. Interesting idea. Very weird and wacky. And then we've got PTS shelters, just somebody packing in as much as they can, making kind of a bar type recreational space with a few sleeping bags in there. It's cool. And then we got on to the utility room. This is actually kind of closer to what I did. It's got a little bit of lighting in there, nice kind of wooden floor down there. They've tucked in, from the look of this, the metal walls, which is quite cool. Closed off those vault walls a little bit, which is nice. Fortunately, when you're actually in it, you'll still see the gap between the ceiling and the walls, which is something they need to work on. That's definitely not ideal. But other than that, the player's done a really nice job on this. Kind of, like I say, similar to the vibe I went with. Then we've got a Mega Sloth Shrine here, which is thoroughly disturbing, but very, very cool as well. This looks to be in the lobby. Pretty nice. That's, yeah. Looks almost like this Mega Sloth has wings. That's kind of terrifying. Flying Mega Sloth. And somebody clearly channeling Nikola Tesla there. With their, I'm guessing that's the atrium from the look of it, peering through the roofs there, but very, very cool. Super reactor at the back, nice. Kind of creepy as well with the Wendigo Colossus heads, but all in all, very cool. So, yeah, not vast amounts of new stuff here. Patch coming next week that's going to be relatively small, mostly bug fixes, bit of background stuff. So, not the most stimulating patch in the world. I'll be covering that on Tuesday, though, as per usual. So, always good to have the bug fixes, always good to give the servers a refresh, that type of thing. So, happy to see that. And not surprising that it's going to be a small one, given that they're working on a pretty huge update for a couple of months' time. So, better to have as much attention focused on that as possible, and then that will go as well as it possibly can. So, always good. Yeah, looking forward to the revamped Hunt for the Treasure Hunter event as well. The changes are good. Nice to see Bethesda doing pretty much exactly what the player base asked them for there. So, that's very good. A lot of the time, what's requested is not always all that practical. To do with mechanics of the game, the way the engine works, countless other things that I can't even imagine about because I'm not a game dev, but yeah, on this occasion, clearly we've asked for exactly what we needed, and they've been able to deliver. So, if all works well, and it's, as I say, it certainly seemed to be doing on the test server, very, very cool. Should be a lot of fun for next weekend. Looking forward to jumping into that. So, beyond that, as I say, do keep an eye out for the videos on the weekend beginning next week on those two subjects. Looking forward to doing those. But, yeah, happy with these details. So, I do hope you found this useful and informative. If you did, please do hit those buttons for me. It's very, very much appreciated. Social media links, merch store, and channel memberships all available below the video if you'd like to support the channel in that way. It's very, very much appreciated. Got some cool stuff down there. Thank you very much to everybody who's done that. And if you get a chance, jump in on one of the live streams as well. Having fun playing but Fallout, working through Armor Ace, and pushing on with Horizon Zero Dawn as we move towards some very cool stuff coming towards the end of the year as well. So a lot of fun stuff lined up there. So I do hope you'll join for that. But for now, Thank you very much for watching. I look forward to speaking to you all very, very soon.